Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we'd feature a guitar that Guitar World named the coolest guitar in history in 2010. I'm sure you guys all know what this is. This is a BC Rich Mockingbird. So for everybody that doesn't know, the Mockingbird was originally designed in 1977. Johnny Go-Go Callis came up with the design and Bernie Rico put it together for him. So that this wasn't what it always looked like though. It used to have a short horn. So if you imagine this guitar with half a horn on this side, that's what it was before. That was the original design of the guitar. In 1978, Bernie Rico decided to change that, and he added the long horn, which is iconic today. This is the guitar we think of when we think of a Mockingbird. If you guys ever see a Mockingbird, unless it's a very original prototype or a very, 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 very original first run, it will have this long horn on it. So what made this guitar so cool? Well, other than the fact that a ton of famous artists played this guitar, you have people like Slash, Lita Ford. The list is endless. It's huge. If I was going to name them all off, we'd be here for an hour at least, just naming names. Also, what made it cool is the shape. It was different at the time. It was completely off the wall for most people, and it looked cool on a stage. I mean, you can't say that doesn't look awesome. Look at the fake flame in this. It's just a gorgeous instrument. The original ones had tails and they had little runners of wood. They were just beautiful guitars. This one happens to be my 1994 made in Japan. This is an NJ series Mockingbird. So if you're not familiar with BC Rich and what the NJ stood for, it stood for Nagoya, Japan. That's where they were originally built and why they call them an NJ. Now, later on, so this is probably the last. This is really close to the last year that they were made in Japan. So they stopped making these in Japan in 96, 97-ish. This is 94. What happened was they started making them in Korea. They were still badged an NJ. To me, that doesn't make them an NJ anymore. That makes them a Korea guitar, not a Nagoya, Japan made guitar. So this one is a solid alder body. It's pretty damn heavy. It's two pieces of alder joined together, cut into this beautiful shape. It's got your typical setup for what I would figure an old 80s rock or 90s rock guitar would have. You got two high output humbuckers, BC Rich branded, volume, three-way switch, and a tone knob. You got a Floyd Rose, because you got to have a Floyd Rose on a rock guitar. What rock guitar would be complete without a Floyd Rose stuck to it? A locking nut up here, BC Rich branded tuners on the back, which is pretty standard. So it's nothing fancy. It does, though, because BC Rich was really good about it when they came to their higher-end guitars like this. When you got the NJ series, this was a step down from the American one. They put in their iconic diamond inlays, which look phenomenal on that dark rosewood with a lot of grain. It has beautiful graining through it. It's just a pretty guitar. It's an absolute dream to play. It plays like you would think it does. It's smooth as butter. It sounds like an 80s rock guitar. So if you're familiar with that 80s rock sound, that hair metal, heavy metal kind of 80s sound to it, think Dio or even Quiet Riot or something around that stage, this is what it sounds like. And I don't know, it's not the pickups, because I've had a different one, Japanese NJ series one, that had Seymour Duncans in it. Somebody changed them and it sounded the same. So I think it has to do with the size of this big old body and just the feel of it. I think it makes you play like an 80s rocker because that's what it looks like. So if you guys want to leave me a comment down below, if you've had one of these, leave me a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear from you about it. I think they're a fantastic guitar. We're going to hook this up to my Blackstar HT40 back here. We're going to do some tones. We're also going to talk about a little bit more with this, where like BC Rich brand, where it's going today, as far as $7,000 custom shop guitars go, and nothing really being made that piques anybody's interest besides the same old designs. I mean, we'll get into that later, but right now let's hook this up to my Blackstar and see what it sounds like. We'll do a few tones. I'm going to leave it on a distorted setting because I think that's where this guitar really shines. It doesn't really need to be on a clean side. It's not a clean guitar. It is beautiful, but it's not a clean guitar. It's not made for that. So let's hook it up. We'll get some tones from it, and we'll see how it sounds. Okay, guys, so that was my 94 BC Rich Mockingbird. Let's talk BC Rich for a minute. Let's talk about the company, where it was and where it's going today. So back in the early 90s, as you know or don't know, Ed Roman took a huge part of BC Rich, and Bernie Rico originally wanted to sell that company to Ed Roman, which Ed Roman declined because he did not want to import guitars like the NJ series or the Chinese like bronze series guitars, so he ended up not doing that. If you guys don't know who Ed Roman is, there's a lot of stuff out there on him. In a nutshell, Ed Roman would take BC Rich guitar necks and blanks from the US factory, and he would chop up old BC Rich guitars that were US made and change them into different BC Rich guitars that were technically fakes or copies, but they would have the original serial number from that guitar, but it wouldn't match. So if you guys are buying BC Rich guitars and you're looking at US made guitars, be very careful of what you're buying out there, because there's a lot of Ed Roman fakes, and I don't want to see you guys go down a rabbit hole with that, because you lose a lot of money and it's not worth it. On the upside, BC Rich has done a lot of great things in the years following that. They came out with a lot of great guitars. They brought back the Warlock in a lot of different forms. They did the Beast, which was a great guitar if you like to get poked in every corner of your body. I mean, it's not for me, but it is for some people. They also brought back out classic styles. They brought the Eagle back for a little while, and they brought back the US Custom Shop. Now, today I would tell you not to buy a BC Rich unless it's an older one, like my 94 NJ. There's no reason you should go out and spend thousands of dollars on a BC Rich, especially what they're making now. Like with the upside of and the Stranger Things thing with Eddie's Warlock that they've brought out with the crackle finish and all of that, yes, you're going to pay a huge price for it now. I mean, you can find them, they're about $800 new, all the way up to a couple thousand, depending on where they're made. But the problem with that is that a lot of people have scalped them, bought them, and now they want $2,000 for the $800 model. It's not worth your money. Trust me, it's just not. Find an older, made in Japan Warlock if you want a Warlock, which those prices are starting to go up too because of that. The custom shop for me, I feel, is kind of a joke in the long run, because you're going to pay $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. There's $7,000 guitars on there that have worse specs than their $900 guitars. I mean, there's no reason to pay $5,000 for a Warlock with a Floyd Rose 1000 tremolo and not an original sitting on it. Use your head when it comes to these guitars. They are a ton of fun to play. Just make sure you know what you're buying and get pictures and everything else with them. My honest opinion is buy an old NJ series that were made in Japan. They're phenomenal guitars and they play amazing and they sound great. That's where I would go with this. BC Rich is a company we hope will still stay around, but with everything that's going on and the prices of their guitars right now, I don't know how they can compete in a world where you can get a Jackson or a Schecter or something that plays phenomenally better for half the money. I mean, even a Fender anymore is putting out beautiful things with Squier. So if you're into the BC Rich thing, which I know a lot of people love the body styles and they're super into these, please go out and buy yourself an old used one like an NJ series. Just make sure you know what you're buying before you buy it. All NJ series, if they are a true NJ from Nagoya, Japan, they are stamped on the back plate, on the neck plate with the serial number. That's the only place the serial number shows up on these. Also, pay attention to what they're made out of. Some of these guitars, if you're buying a newer one, they're not going to be the same make. They're going to be, pancake wood, which is fine. it's fine with me. If you're using high pressure laminate wood and all that stuff in your guitars, I have some of them. They're phenomenal. It's just, if you want a BC Rich, get an older NJ, is my opinion. That's my honest personal opinion. And for your money and your best bang for your buck, that's where I would go. Guys, thanks for checking out the video, and thanks for checking out that beautiful BC Rich guitar. It is an absolute joy to play, and it's gorgeous. So we'll see you on the next one, and make sure you all hang in there. Please click the like and subscribe if you like the video. If not, that's fine too. Share it around if you will. I'll see you guys next time.